Have you ever met someone who feels like they're constantly keeping you on your toes? One moment, they're charming and full of energy, and the next, they're a whole different person. Confused yet intrigued? Well, if you're falling for a Gemini, you're not alone. Welcome to the world of the twins, where unpredictability and excitement are part of the package. But trust me, understanding a Gemini is more than just embracing their dual nature. It's about tapping into a whirlwind of intelligence, charm, and yes, emotional roller coasters. And if you're feeling like you're losing your mind trying to figure them out, stay tuned. In today's video, we're diving deep into what makes Geminis so unique and why falling for one can be both exhilarating and a bit maddening. If you've ever found yourself captivated by a Gemini's charm but frustrated by their unpredictability, this video is for you. We'll break down their key traits and explore how understanding their psychological makeup can help you navigate a relationship with them in a peaceful and mindful way. And hey, don't forget, before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share it with anyone who might be in a Gemini relationship. Trust me, they'll thank you later. Now, let's get started. Falling for a Gemini? Prepare to lose your mind. Have you ever been caught in a whirlwind, not knowing which way to turn but somehow feeling completely alive? That's what it's like to fall for a Gemini. These twins of the Zodiac bring chaos and charm in equal measure, and when you're in their orbit, it's as if time itself bends to their unpredictable rhythm. You can never quite know what to expect next. One moment, they're making you laugh with their witty banter, the next, they're lost in their thoughts, leaving you wondering if you're still on the same page. It's fascinating, but also maddening. If you're someone who values stability, then a Gemini might just drive you a little bit crazy. But here's the thing, this dual nature is what makes them so intriguing. It's like a constant dance of opposites. And if you can learn to move with the beat, you'll find that falling for a Gemini is one of the most exciting experiences you'll ever have. At first, it's all fun and games. You meet a Gemini, and they're effortlessly charming. There's a magnetic energy about them that pulls you in. They have this ability to make you feel like you're the only person in the room, engaging you in conversation that seems to flow effortlessly. Whether they're telling a funny story or delving into deep topics, they keep you hooked with their quick wit and intellectual curiosity. But here's where things get interesting, just when you think you've figured them out. They change. One minute, they're on top of the world, ready to take on new adventures. The next, they're somewhere in their own head, processing emotions or ideas that you may never fully understand. And that's the Gemini paradox, emotional duality. As the Zodiac's air sign, they live in their minds more than in their hearts. They need mental stimulation, constantly searching for new ideas and experiences to keep them engaged. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean that you'll rarely get a consistent version of the person you're falling for. One day, they could be sending you thoughtful texts, planning spontaneous trips, and making big plans for the future. The next, they might be pulling away, emotionally distant, or distracted by something else that's piqued their interest. It's easy to feel like you're walking on a tightrope, constantly trying to keep their attention. But here's the secret. Understanding that this is their nature, rather than taking it personally, can actually help you build a better relationship with a Gemini. They are in a constant state of internal change, always balancing two sides of themselves. The trick is to embrace this fluidity and enjoy the adventure it brings, rather than trying to pin them down to one version of who they are. Let's talk about the emotional roller coaster, because trust me, you're not in for a smooth ride. If you've ever been with a Gemini, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say that their emotions can be as unpredictable as the weather. One moment, you're having a deep, meaningful conversation, and the next, you're left wondering why they suddenly seem so distant. They're not trying to push you away, they're simply processing their emotions in their own way. Gemini's mind is constantly buzzing with thoughts, and sometimes, their emotions can get lost in the shuffle. Here's a tip for navigating this emotional whirlwind. Give them space when they pull away. Don't try to force them to talk when they're in one of their quiet zones. Instead, let them process whatever they need to, and they'll come back to you when they're ready. This is crucial, not just for your relationship with them, but for your own peace of mind. Trying to push them to open up when they're not ready will only create more tension. Patience and understanding are key. Think of it like this: when a Gemini retreats, it's their way of recharging their mental batteries. They'll be back soon enough, with new thoughts and ideas to share. Now, let's get into the heart of what makes a Gemini truly special: their intellectual curiosity. If you're looking for someone who challenges you, who will push your mind to places you've never been before, look no further. Geminis thrive on stimulating conversations. They are natural communicators, and they love to engage with you on deep, meaningful levels. Whether it's discussing the mysteries of the universe or debating the latest trends, they will keep you on your toes. This mental connection is often what draws people to them in the first place. And for good reason. But here's the catch: Geminis can sometimes get so caught up in the intellectual game that they forget to nurture the emotional aspects of the relationship. They may sweep over deep feelings and emotions with a wave of their hand, opting instead for the thrill of the next intellectual challenge. If you want to connect with a Gemini, you'll need to meet them at their intellectual level, but also gently guide them toward deeper emotional intimacy. Share your thoughts with them, but also express your feelings. Let them see the more vulnerable side of you, and they'll start to appreciate the deeper emotional bond that can grow between you. The key is balance, intellectual connection, and emotional depth working together. But here's the twist that no one talks about when it comes to Gemini relationships: they can be incredibly fickle. The same Gemini who swept you off your feet with exciting plans and spontaneous adventures might suddenly lose interest in the very things that once captivated them. They might pick up a new hobby, a new project, or even a new social group, leaving you wondering if you're still part of their world. This tendency to jump from one thing to the next can be frustrating, especially if you're someone who craves stability and consistency. But again, the key to navigating this Gemini trait lies in embracing their need for variety. Instead of seeing their fluctuating interests as a threat, see it as an opportunity for growth. Let them lead you into new experiences, and don't be afraid to explore different interests alongside them. This doesn't mean you have to abandon your own passions, but rather that you can join them in their quest for new and exciting things. It's a chance to step outside your comfort zone and discover something new together. But what do you do when they retreat? Or when they seem to lose interest for a while? This is the part where it's easy to take things personally. You might feel neglected or unimportant, but that's not the case. Remember, Geminis crave freedom and excitement. When they pull away, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's simply their need for mental and emotional space. The best thing you can do in these moments is to give them that space while also staying true to yourself. Don't let their fluctuating energy make you doubt your own value. Instead, use this time to focus on your own passions and growth. When you nurture yourself, you become more attractive to them, not because you're trying to win their affection, but because you're living your life fully, independent of their ever-shifting mood. The real beauty of falling for a Gemini is that, despite all the twists and turns, there's never a dull moment. They will keep you engaged, excited, and always on your toes. Yes, there will be moments when you question your sanity, wondering if you're still playing the same game. But if you can embrace the unpredictability and learn to flow with their energy, you'll find that life with a Gemini is anything but boring. As we wrap up this journey into the heart of Gemini, just remember, they may be difficult to pin down, but that's exactly what makes them so fascinating. Falling for a Gemini isn't about finding someone who fits neatly into your life, it's about learning to dance with the chaos, embracing the unpredictability, and growing together in ways you never imagined. So, if you're ready to lose your mind in the best way possible, buckle up and enjoy the ride. But be warned, once you're in, there's no turning back. Stay tuned, because next, we'll dive deeper into how to handle the emotional side of a Gemini, and why it's so important to understand their needs before your relationship hits a crossroads. Falling for a Gemini? Prepare to lose your mind. Continued. If you thought the unpredictability of a Gemini was something you could get used to, just wait for what comes next. There's a reason why so many people find themselves enchanted by Geminis. They are not just engaging because of their personality, but because of how they can weave themselves into the fabric of your life. They challenge you, push your boundaries, and often bring out a side of you that you never knew existed. But with that comes the deep complexity of their ever-shifting interests and emotional landscapes. It's not always easy to navigate, but the payoff can be worth it if you're ready to embrace the ride. Geminis are also masters of adaptability. It's like they can fit into almost any situation and flourish. Whether it's attending a big social event, making small talk with strangers, or diving into deep intellectual debates, they make it all look effortless. They can instantly morph into someone who matches the energy of the room, which is a large part of their charm. If you're with a Gemini, you'll notice how they can seamlessly blend in, make you feel comfortable, and help ease any tension. Their ability to adapt and be in the moment can feel freeing, like they're always ready to go with the flow. Never rigid, and always moving forward. But here's where it gets tricky. This adaptability comes with a price. Because Geminis can be so flexible, they sometimes struggle with consistency. If you're someone who craves a bit of routine or predictability, you might find yourself frustrated with their ever-changing moods. One day they might be in a deep philosophical discussion with you. The next, they could be wrapped up in a new project or idea that has completely captivated their attention. You might feel like you've been left behind in their whirlwind of thoughts and activities. It can be tempting to try to anchor them to one specific interest, relationship, or goal, but here's the thing: Geminis need freedom. They need to explore, to change, to seek out the new. Trying to hold them down can make them feel suffocated, and that will only push them away. Instead of attempting to settle them into one place, try focusing on what they love to do, explore, adapt, and share new experiences. You don't need to control them to make the relationship work. The key is to let them be who they are, to give them space to explore their interests, and to be okay with the fact that they won't always be in the same place mentally or emotionally as you are. What's more, this need for change and exploration can extend to how they approach relationships. Gemini's need for variety can sometimes make commitment feel like a challenge. They aren't naturally inclined to settle down easily. If you're hoping to be their one and only, you might face some difficulties. It's not because they don't care, it's because they are always seeking new stimuli, new experiences, new conversations. You might feel like you're competing with their intellectual curiosity and wanderlust, both of which are strong drivers in their lives. But here's the reality: commitment with a Gemini doesn't mean locking them down, it means finding a way to grow together. They need a partner who respects their need for freedom and variety but also brings stability and depth into the relationship. It's about creating a space where both of you can evolve without feeling like the other is holding you back. If you can find that balance, you might just have a partner who will challenge you, excite you, and help you grow in ways you never expected. The secret is mutual understanding. You don't need to be the same person or have the same interests, but you do need to be aligned on what you both want from the relationship. If you've spent any time with a Gemini, you've probably noticed how quickly they can switch gears. One minute, they're talking passionately about a new hobby, the next they've moved on to something else. This can leave you feeling a bit off balance. You might think that their shifting attention is a reflection of how they feel about you, but most of the time, it's just their nature. They are always in search of the next big idea, the next adventure, the next challenge. They're not intentionally neglecting you, they're simply following their curious minds wherever they take them. So, how do you cope with this? Well, first of all, don't take it personally. This isn't about you or your worth, it's about their intrinsic need to keep exploring. Instead of trying to demand their undivided attention, lean into this quality of theirs by also pursuing your own passions. Gemini thrives in an environment where both partners are independent and can share their experiences with each other. This doesn't mean you have to be completely hands-off, but rather that you create a healthy space for individuality while still enjoying your time together. When you both have room to breathe, the relationship feels more dynamic and alive, as both of you are evolving, growing, and discovering new things. Another reason you might find yourself drawn to a Gemini is their social energy. Geminis are the social butterflies of the zodiac, and they thrive in group settings. Whether it's a dinner party, a networking event, or just hanging out with friends, Geminis love to engage with people. They're charming, easy to talk to, and have an infectious enthusiasm that makes everyone feel welcome. This social energy is a big part of why they can be so captivating. They're natural conversationalists, and their ability to make everyone feel at ease in social situations is almost magical. But this can also lead to moments where you might feel overshadowed. You see, Geminis love attention, not in a selfish way, but in a way that satisfies their need for connection and stimulation. If you're someone who's more introverted or who values quieter, one-on-one moments, you might find yourself a little overwhelmed by how social they can be. This is another area where the relationship dynamic can take a bit of adjusting. Here's the trick: rather than trying to keep them away from others, embrace their social side. They love engaging with people, so instead of feeling left out, lean into the experience. Go out with them, meet their friends, enjoy the energy they bring to the room. And when the two of you are alone, make sure you create those intimate, quieter moments to balance out the noise. It's about finding harmony between their need for social connection and your desire for solitude. When you can meet each other in the middle, you'll find that their social energy doesn't have to be a source of tension. It can be something that adds excitement and variety to your life together. But it's not all fun and games. One of the most challenging aspects of being in a relationship with a Gemini is the potential for emotional detachment. While they are often deep thinkers, they tend to process emotions differently than other signs. Rather than letting their feelings guide them, they often intellectualize their emotions. This can make them seem emotionally distant or even cold at times. If you're someone who relies on emotional expression in a relationship, this can be tough to navigate. You might find yourself craving deeper emotional connection, while your Gemini partner is still stuck in their head, analyzing everything from a logical perspective. This emotional distance doesn't mean they don't care about you. It simply means that they approach feelings in a more detached, rational way. If you want to connect with them on a deeper level, the best approach is to meet them where they are. Rather than pushing them to express their emotions in the way you'd expect, try opening up yourself. Share your thoughts and feelings, and allow them to process things at their own pace. In time, they'll appreciate your emotional transparency, and they might start to open up in their own way. It's important not to force them to be someone they're not. Understanding how they process emotions is a big part of making the relationship work. Ultimately, falling for a Gemini is not for the faint of heart. It's an adventure, a journey filled with twists and turns, highs and lows. But if you're willing to embrace the unpredictability and the constant change, you'll find that being with a Gemini can open up new worlds of possibility. With their energy, their intellectual curiosity, and their charm, they can make every moment feel alive. It's a relationship where you're never bored, but you're also constantly learning and growing. And if you can match their pace, keep up with their curious minds, and give them the space they need, you just might find yourself on the ride of a lifetime. Stay tuned for the next part of this deep dive into Gemini relationships, where we'll explore even more ways to make this wild, unpredictable ride feel a little bit smoother. Falling for a Gemini? Prepare to lose your mind. You know, as we continue this wild ride of understanding the Gemini experience, it's clear that falling for them can be a transformative journey, not always easy, but definitely unforgettable. But here's where things get even more interesting. The Gemini's mind is like an endless maze of curiosity, always seeking something new, something fresh. This constant search for mental stimulation can feel like a deep, exhilarating challenge. But to really understand what it's like, you need to accept one thing about them: they're not looking for a partner who's static or passive. If you're not mentally stimulating them, they'll be gone before you even know it. It's not that they don't care, it's just that without intellectual connection, a Gemini can't thrive. They need conversation that stimulates their mind, whether it's about philosophy, current events, or the latest tech trends. But here's the twist: they don't just want to talk at you, they want to engage you in a way that feels like a mental dance. You might find yourself caught up in debates, discussions, and ideas that are so engaging you almost forget you're not the ones driving the conversation. But it's not all about them taking over the conversation. If you really want to win over a Gemini, engage them in a way that shows your depth, too. Don't just agree with everything they say, challenge them, offer your own insights. This doesn't just apply to surface-level topics. Dive into deeper conversations, ones that make you both question your perspectives. For example, a friend of mine once told me about dating a Gemini who was always coming up with random theories about the universe. At first, my friend tried to keep up, but over time, they realized the way to truly connect was not by always matching the Gemini's intellectual pace, but by bringing their own unique thoughts to the table. This gave the Gemini something new to explore, and the relationship grew stronger because of it. But here's the real gem of a Gemini connection. Despite the intellectual stimulation they crave, they often need the freedom to follow their own intellectual pursuits. They're constantly learning, adapting, and exploring new ideas. It's like they're chasing after something elusive. And if you're able to accompany them on that journey, without demanding that they settle on one path or idea, you'll find that they appreciate you in ways they can't express. It's about giving them the space to evolve and develop on their own while supporting them when they need it. This space is what gives your relationship with a Gemini a chance to grow without suffocating either of you. The next aspect of being with a Gemini is the emotional detachment that comes with their intellectual nature. While they can talk circles around any subject, they sometimes have difficulty expressing their feelings. It's not that they don't care, it's that they tend to intellectualize their emotions rather than letting themselves feel them fully. You might find yourself seeking deeper emotional connection, only to be met with surface-level explanations or, worse, no explanation at all. This can leave you feeling frustrated, especially if you're the type who craves emotional depth. But there's a way to navigate this emotional complexity. It starts with patience. If you're constantly pushing for Gemini to express their feelings in a way that feels comfortable to you, you'll run into resistance. Instead, try understanding that they process their emotions internally. They may not wear their heart on their sleeve, but that doesn't mean they're not feeling deeply. A Gemini might never give you a grand speech about how much they care, but their actions will often speak louder than words. They'll show you through the little things, remembering something you said months ago, sending you an article they think you'll like, or spontaneously planning a date based on something you casually mentioned. If you're craving emotional openness, one of the best things you can do is create a space where they feel safe to express themselves on their own terms. Encourage them to open up, but don't pressure them. Be the calm to their stormy thoughts. If they know you're there without judgment, they're more likely to share their true feelings when they're ready. This kind of understanding can transform a Gemini's emotional detachment into a strength for the relationship, because it shows that you're willing to meet them where they are, even when they're not quite ready to meet you in the emotional depths you desire. As we dive deeper into the world of Geminis, one thing becomes abundantly clear: they crave variety. They get bored easily. What excites them one day might lose its spark the next. They are the archetype of change, constantly seeking new things to keep their energy flowing. If you've ever had a Gemini partner, you know the drill. One day, they're all in, making big plans for the future. The next day, they're suddenly interested in something entirely new. This can feel like a relationship roller coaster, and it can leave you wondering where you stand. This need for variety is one of the Gemini traits that often makes people feel unstable or unsure about where they stand in the relationship. You might feel like you're not enough to keep their attention, and that can be heartbreaking. But here's the key to understanding this trait: it's not about you. They're not trying to avoid you or reject you. It's simply that they need constant stimulation, new things to explore, new ideas to digest. This isn't a flaw, it's part of their innate need to learn and grow. So, instead of feeling neglected, ask yourself how you can contribute to the variety they crave. Here's a simple piece of advice for navigating the Gemini's fluctuating interests: stay curious with them. Rather than pulling away when they switch gears, join them in their exploration. Ask questions, share in their excitement about new ideas, and keep the energy light and adventurous. Geminis love a partner who can match their enthusiasm for life's endless possibilities. This doesn't mean you have to abandon your own interests, but rather that you can grow and explore together. By staying open to change and seeing their shifting passions as opportunities for growth, you'll keep the relationship dynamic and exciting. At the same time, you also need to give them space when they need it. This constant search for new ideas and experiences can sometimes feel like they're distancing themselves from you. If you constantly demand their attention or try to rein them in, you might create the very distance you're trying to avoid. Instead, let them take their time exploring new things. Give them room to breathe, and they'll come back to you with even more interesting things to share. Now, let's talk about one of the most intriguing aspects of being with a Gemini: their need for social interaction. Geminis are social creatures, and they thrive in social settings. If you're dating one, you'll likely find yourself swept up in their social circle, meeting new people and attending events. Whether it's a small gathering or a larger party, Geminis can talk to anyone and everyone, drawing people in with their easygoing charm and quick wit. But here's the thing: this love for socializing can leave you feeling a little left out. Especially if you're more introverted or prefer quieter, one-on-one moments. If your Gemini partner is constantly surrounded by friends, you might start to feel like you're competing for their attention. It's easy to feel frustrated or overlooked, but it's important to remember that this isn't a personal slight. Their social energy isn't a reflection of how much they care about you, it's just a part of who they are. If you're feeling overlooked, instead of pulling back, try to embrace their social side. Go with them to events, meet their friends, and engage with their world. But don't forget to carve out those special moments for just the two of you. This balance is key to maintaining a healthy relationship with a Gemini. They'll appreciate you being supportive of their social needs while also respecting the need for deeper, more intimate moments together. Ultimately, understanding a Gemini's need for social connection and intellectual stimulation can help you create a relationship that thrives on growth and shared experiences. Don't try to box them into one version of who they are. Instead, let them be the multifaceted person they're meant to be, and allow your relationship to grow along with them. When you embrace their need for change, variety, and mental engagement, you'll find that being with a Gemini is a journey filled with unexpected joy, connection, and, most of all, growth. Falling for a Gemini? Prepare to lose your mind. Part 4. As we continue to explore the magnetic world of Gemini, it's clear that their charm isn't just skin deep. What truly makes a Gemini so captivating, and at times so maddening, is their constant drive for self-exploration. It's like they're always looking for something new, something different, whether it's a new idea, a new project, or a new person to connect with. If you've ever fallen for a Gemini, you've likely experienced this constant shift in focus. One moment, they're completely engaged with you, making you feel like the most important person in their world. The next, they might be lost in some new passion, leaving you feeling disconnected. Here's where things get tricky. As much as they might seem like they're emotionally unavailable or distracted, this is actually a reflection of their nature. They're not deliberately pulling away from you. They're just constantly evolving, always seeking to learn more, be more, and grow. And this can feel like a lot to keep up with, especially if you're someone who values consistency and predictability. But here's the thing. If you understand that their need for variety is an essential part of who they are, you can find ways to support them in their self-exploration without feeling neglected. This is where your role in their world becomes crucial. Instead of feeling threatened by their need to constantly change or explore new things, become an active part of their journey. Be open to their shifts, embrace the unknown with them, and use it as an opportunity to grow together. For instance, a friend of mine once started dating a Gemini who had a habit of jumping from one hobby to the next. At first, my friend felt like they were losing their Gemini partner with each new interest. But over time, they realized that instead of competing for their attention, they could join them in their exploration. They began attending events together, exploring new activities, and sharing the excitement of each new phase. By doing this, they found a rhythm that worked, and the relationship flourished. In essence, it's not about being at the center of their world, it's about being someone who evolves with them, supporting their growth while also maintaining your own independence. Now, let's dive into one of the most polarizing aspects of being with a Gemini, their emotional depth, or lack thereof. You've probably noticed that Geminis can be emotionally distant, even cold at times. They're not like other signs who wear their hearts on their sleeves. For a Gemini, emotions can feel overwhelming and chaotic. Instead of expressing feelings openly, they often internalize them, intellectualizing their emotions rather than allowing themselves to feel them fully. This can be frustrating for anyone who craves emotional transparency and connection. But here's where you need to shift your mindset. Their emotional detachment is not a reflection of their lack of care for you. Instead, it's their coping mechanism. As an air sign, Gemini processes emotions differently. They tend to look at things from a rational perspective, trying to make sense of their feelings through logic. They might never cry in front of you or give you a grand emotional display. But that doesn't mean they don't care. They express their feelings in subtler ways, through actions, thoughtful gestures, or even in the way they show up for you when you need them most. If you're someone who finds it difficult to connect with Gemini's emotional style, don't force them to open up in the way you expect. Understand that their emotional process is quieter, more cerebral, and often requires patience. One of the best things you can do is create a safe space for them to process their feelings without pressure. Encourage open dialogue, but don't push them to reveal more than they're comfortable with. Instead, focus on the little moments, the way they remember things you've shared or how they make you feel heard, even in their own unique way. Over time, their emotional walls will begin to come down, and you'll gain a deeper understanding of how they express care, love, and loyalty. It's all about trust and giving them the freedom to process in their own time. Finally, let's talk about commitment. The word commitment can make any Gemini break into a cold sweat. Not because they're afraid of relationships, but because they fear being confined. They are naturally free spirits who crave independence and variety. To a Gemini, the idea of being tied down to one person or one thing can feel like a trap. They don't want to lose their sense of self, their sense of exploration, or their mental freedom. This can make relationships feel like a delicate balancing act. So, if you're in a relationship with a Gemini and are looking for something long-term, you have to find a way to meet in the middle. Don't expect them to just settle into a traditional relationship model without giving them room to explore. Instead of trying to force a commitment, let it develop naturally. If you try to control them or box them into one path, they'll feel suffocated, and the relationship might unravel. But if you give them the space to grow and evolve while also showing them that you're a steady, supportive presence, you'll build a partnership that feels fulfilling for both of you. In fact, one of the best ways to keep a Gemini invested in the relationship is by offering them intellectual and emotional freedom. Let them explore new interests, meet new people, and chase their curiosities, but remain a constant and grounding influence in their life. A Gemini who feels supported in their exploration will often surprise you by coming back with renewed affection. Not because they've been forced to, but but because they appreciate the freedom and space you've given them to grow. Your role is to provide a sense of stability and reassurance, knowing that, despite their need for independence, they will always come back to you when they need that grounding force. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into the complexities of being in a relationship with a Gemini, it's clear that falling for them is never a dull experience. From their intellectual energy and ever-shifting moods to their need for emotional space and freedom, it can feel like a roller coaster at times. But if you can learn to dance with their duality, communicate openly, and embrace the adventure that comes with being with a Gemini, you'll find that they bring a kind of excitement and energy to your life that's unlike anything else. If you've learned something new today or found yourself relating to the challenges and joys of being with a Gemini, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with someone who's also navigating a relationship with a Gemini, and subscribe to Zen Mind Peaceful Life for more insights into astrology, personal growth, and navigating relationships with the stars on your side. And remember, the key to being with a Gemini isn't trying to change them, but rather to understand and accept their fluid nature. Allow them the space to evolve, and you'll find a relationship that's as exciting as it is fulfilling. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into the mysteries of the Zodiac. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and most of all, stay Zen.